So you booked your first interview and now you're saying, now what? Well, I'm going to share with you exactly what you need to do to give a great presentation, a great interview, a great conversation, which really that's what it is. You're having a conversation. A lot of people get really caught up and they put the host of a show on a pedestal. And sure, some of them, they've earned the right to actually be up on a pedestal. But the fact is, they're people just like you and me. And so what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to give you some tips on how to give a great podcast interview. Just some simple things that you can do that will really make a difference in the way that you come across during an interview. The first thing that I would recommend is that you relax. And also remember to say your name, which, by the way, this is Kathleen Gage with Power Up for Profits podcast show and Plant-Based Eating for Health podcast show. Not only do I have 2 podcast shows, I've been on the other side of the mic hundreds upon hundreds of times. It could even be in the thousands now. I seriously don't remember. I lost count after a few hundred. It's like, okay, who's counting? I've been doing this for a lot of years, and the one thing that I do know that makes for a great interview is to just be myself, to relax and to enjoy the process. That's what the host is looking for. What they're also looking for is they're looking for you to provide value for their listener. Maybe they have viewers, maybe they have listeners, they might have both. In my case, when I do my show, Plant-Based Eating for Health, we shoot it via Zoom, then it goes into the editing process. Once it's edited, I strip out the audio and the video. And so I'm able to put one into YouTube. I also am able to put it into all the standard audio platforms like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, things of that nature, Spotify. And so in some cases, you're going to have a host that will interview you and they want you to be on camera. In other cases, they don't care if you're on camera. Always be prepared that you may be on camera. And in some cases, a host will actually want you to be on camera, even though they're only going to strip out the audio. And they feel like it's a better way to connect, which is really true. So the first thing in giving a great interview is to relax and be yourself. The next thing is listen to an episode or 2, or at least a portion of an episode or 2 of the show that you're going to be on, so you can become familiar with the style of the host. That's really important because every host is different, and you want to be able to relate to that host in the way they like to be related to, still keeping in mind that it's about being yourself. The next thing that you want to make sure you do is you want to have good equipment. Now, by good equipment, you don't need to spend a fortune on equipment, but you do need a good external microphone. Blue Yeti is good. And actually, I'll go ahead and put a link to my recommended resources page, so you can go on my website and you can take a look at some of the less expensive and more expensive options, but you do need an external microphone. And let me show you why. Okay, right now, I'm talking very close to my microphone. I have this that kind of muffles any th sounds. Okay, but if I sit way back here and I talk at the same tone, if I don't really pay attention to talking into the microphone, obviously the sound is going to be very different and it doesn't work as well. So you want to make sure that you have a good external microphone. And if you're just starting out, you don't need to spend a fortune. Something as low as $20 or $30 can actually work to begin with. Another thing that you really should do when you're on a call with a host is you need to have a headset of some sort. And you can use something as inexpensive as earbuds. Earbuds work great. You just stick them in, and that's when you're on the interview. Right now, I'm just recording, so it really doesn't matter. But when you're on an interview, that actually locks out some of the double sound that can go on. So you want to make sure that you have good equipment. You also want to look at the fact that you have a quiet space to record in. Put the dogs away, put the husband, put the wife, put the spouse, the partner, whomever it is that might make noise while you're interviewing. You want to make sure that that doesn't happen. But most of all, you want to relax. That's one of the biggest keys to success in doing interviews. And view it more as a conversation with a friend than you are an interview that might be heard and seen by hundreds, thousands, even hundreds of thousands of potential listeners and viewers. I did a show recently where after the fact, the host told me, oh, on average, we have about 100,000 people who listen in. And I'm like, oh, glad I didn't know that ahead of time. Actually, I would have been fine, but it was just like, I didn't realize it was such a popular show. I knew it was popular, but I didn't know how popular. And I have one client on her first interview. She hit a home run. The show had about 38,000 downloads within a 48-hour period. That's phenomenal. So as you can see, you never know what kind of reach you're going to have. And the reason you want to give a great interview, again, you want to create value for the listeners and the viewers. You want to create value for the host. And when you do a great interview, opportunity comes out of the woodwork. This is Kathleen Gage with Power Up for Profits and Plant-Based Eating for Health, encouraging you, go out, find those opportunities, and on that very first interview, just relax, have a good time and relax. And if you have not gotten my checklist on how to be a great guest on shows, how to find great opportunities, go to powerupforprofits.com/checklist. That's powerupforprofits.com/checklist. Now you notice I gave that URL twice and I spoke it slowly. That's what you want to do when you're on a show. If the host says, well, how can people get in touch with you? Which they usually ask that. And it's not about being overt in selling anything. It's simply about providing a URL, a web address, or maybe even a Facebook group. You can say, go to powerupforprofits.com/checklist. That's powerupforprofits.com/checklist. So it's real simple to find that URL and use it. If you're going to send them to a Facebook group, you can go to powerupforprofits.com/Facebook. That's powerupforprofits.com/Facebook. That takes people right to my Facebook group to do with Power Up for Profits. And if they want to go to the plant-based eating group, they go to plantbasedeatingforhealth.com/Facebook. plant-basedeatingforhealth.com/Facebook. That's how simple it is. This is Kathleen Gage, wishing you a great day.